achieve a safe milk supply during nursing. And I've had a lot of questions about this lifestyle, like a low insulin lifestyle with both pregnancy and nursing. So I want to make sure to address this because a lot of people are like, how do I implement fasting during pregnancy? How do I implement fasting while I'm nursing? And pregnancy and if you're nursing, this is not a good time to implement intermittent fasting. I don't suggest you implementing this full lifestyle right now while you're nursing. You don't want to compromise your baby's growth. You don't want to compromise your milk supply. I've had three teenagers I have three teenagers now, but I had all of them within 5 years and they all got breast milk for a year. So there were, I mean, how many years is that? I don't know, 8 years that I was pregnant. Maybe only 6 or 7 that I was basically pregnant or nursing. And it's hard on your body. Like your body will prioritize your baby and your milk supply over you. So you really need to take care of yourself and not overdo it while you're pregnant and nursing. And believe me, I get it. Like I gained 30 pounds with each of my children, which is in the range of where you need to be. I was right in that 25 to 35 pounds, but it's like you have your baby and you just think this weight is going to fall right off, and it doesn't. And it's more challenging to lose weight while you're nursing because your hormones are still very, fluctuating a ton, and your body is not wanting to let go of a ton of body fat because it wants to be able to feed your baby. So long answer again, but it's not a great time to implement intermittent fasting. I would wait until you're weaned off and maybe even a month or two after that, because the hormonal fluctuations are high and you're more insulin resistant, especially while you're pregnant because your body's in growth phase. So it just makes it tough to implement intermittent fasting. What I would suggest you do is focus on time restricted eating, what I was talking about earlier, and eating, focus on eating meals and eating nourishing meals that are higher in protein and fat and a little bit of, carbohydrate that's full of fiber in its natural form. And just make sure you're nourishing your body really well and avoiding snacking in between meals. Like if you have well-balanced meals that are satiating, focus on that. Focus on eating 3 meals a day and not eating at bedtime or in the overnight hours. And I know it's really easy if you're getting up in the middle of the night nursing to eat something. And I'm not saying if you're like super hungry not to eat, because that would not be good advice for a pregnant or nursing mother, but really just focusing on that time restricted eating, getting balanced meals, prioritizing your protein and fat, eating a limited amount of carbohydrate, and then just focusing on that TRE, not snacking, not stimulating blood sugar and insulin in between meals, and really staying hydrated. Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe how much I drank while I was nursing, and honestly, how much I ate. I mean, that was the most I've ever eaten in my entire life was when I was nursing. So use it as a time. It's a really small blip in the grand scheme of things. Nursing, focus on your baby, focus on growing that little human and giving it the best nutrition that you can. And then after you've weaned off, maybe a month or two, then you can start implementing intermittent fasting. Because again, it's going to be hard to do intermittent fasting when you are more insulin resistant, because you're naturally more insulin resistant when you're pregnant and nursing. There is a really wonderful book that I'm not at home, of course, but it's Lily. Oh gosh, it's what is it called? Something during pregnancy. Is it eating during pregnant, or nutrition during pregnancy, or it's by Lily Nichols. Her name at least just came to me. Lilynnichols. And I think it's just called Nutrition During Pregnancy. And I apologize that I don't have the book in front of me, but it's by Lily Nichols. She's a registered dietitian, and she focuses on lower carb and, just really more primal nutrition while you're pregnant, and there's, eating the most nourishing foods on the planet. So that's a great resource as well. If you want to look for that, I would highly suggest that. I read that book after I was pregnant. I had my kids, but I did actually some continuing education. She has continuing education for dietitians based on that book. So it's a wonderful resource. So you can utilize that as well. All right. Well, that is all for today. I will tackle 4 more questions next week. I know that was a lot for you to go and think about. I hope you learned a lot during this podcast. If you have questions that you want answered, you can submit them to my assistant, Keely, and you can email her at support@fasttoheal.info. And we keep a running list of questions. So you can submit them there, or you can DM me on Instagram. So again, if you want to send them to Keely, she keeps a running document of all the questions that are submitted. It's support@fasttoheal.info. So thanks for tuning in. As always, I give a free download of my recipe book, which has 85 low carb recipes, or my Fast to Heal workbook, which is the companion guide to my book, Fast to Heal. I give a free download of one of those to anybody who reviews my podcast. And all you have to do is take a screenshot of it and either DM me this screenshot or email me, shanna@fasttoheal.info, and I will get you a free download of either my recipe book or my workbook, because it's so important. I know every podcast you listen to asks for ratings and reviews, but it really does help to get your podcast out to more people. It's the best way to get it in front of other more listeners. And this education, this information that you learn on Fast to Heal Stories is so valuable. It really turns lives around, and it helps people to overcome their insulin resistance. So if you could leave me a podcast rating and review, I would love that. It helps me so much. With that, anything that you hear on this podcast, of course, you want to run past your provider before you implement it. And make sure you have a conversation with the provider that you know best. All right, I'll see you again next Tuesday for another Q&A episode.